Hi guys, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this heart pendant. In the description below I've put a list of everything you'll need, including links to my Facebook page and my Etsy shop, where I'm selling my PDF tutorials if anybody's interested in those. This is made using a little heart bead, drilled from top to bottom. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. To make this pendant you'll need 0.8mm wire, that's 20 gauge, and I've cut 3 lengths at 14 inches, that's 36 centimetres. You'll need 0.315mm, that's 28 gauge weaving wire, and you'll need approximately 300 centimetres. I've wound mine onto a bobbin, but you can cut lengths as you go if you prefer. You need a heart bead or a drilled cab. Mine is 30mm by 28mm and it's drilled from top to bottom. Any size will do. You'll just need to adjust your wire lengths and your weave repeats as you go. Need a 3mm bead and a jump ring. I think any size jump ring will do. Mine is 10mm outside measurements. Tools, you'll need pliers, round nose pliers, wire cutters, and I'll be using nylon pliers. If you don't have these, don't worry, that's fine. And I think that's everything. Let's get started. We're going to start weaving 3 inches from the beginning of your wires. That's about 7.5 centimetres. So take your weaving wire and we're going to start 3 wraps around that bottom wire. And then wrap twice around the bottom 2 wires. Come up between those bottom 2 wires. Then we'll go twice around top 2 wires, if you can hear me over that rain. So that's our repeat. 2 wraps around the bottom 2 wires, 2 wraps around the top 2 wires. I'm going to repeat that about 5 times. So I've done 5 repeats. And I finished off with 2 wraps around the bottom 2 wires. Just cutting off the tail at the beginning. So we need this little few repeats. Take us from where the hole is to where we want the next part to sit, where we want our, I suppose you call it a bail, because that's where we're going to attach our chain. It'd be nice to have it around the peak of the heart there. So if your heart's bigger than mine, you may need to do more repeats so that your weave comes up to the peak there, like that. So keep pushing your weaves together as well as you go. What we're going to do now is leave that bottom wire alone, and we're just going to weave over the top 2 wires. So I'll come up between those 2 wires and I'm going to wrap 3 times around those top 2 wires. And then 3 times around the middle wire. Quite awkward with all these long wires, but that's going to be the repeat now. we want 3 wraps around both wires, and then 3 wraps around that middle wire, just on these 2 wires, leaving that one for a minute. And you want to repeat that about 6 times. So I've done 6 repeats of that weave over the 2 wires. I'm going to do now, holding it at the bottom of the weave, I'm going to bend it over. Try and do it so you can see what I'm doing. I want to make it into a complete circle on the top there. Maybe that's a little bit too tight. Like that. So 6 weaves is just about enough. Might have to add a few more repeats onto that. I'm going to add another repeat onto that. Like that. Now I'm going to add my 3mm bead onto the bottom of those 3 wires. Oops, got it trapped. And then bring those 3 wires back down. My 3mm bead is actually too big to work how I planned it to, so I'm going to be using a 1mm bead, like a little seed bead, and the only one I've got that'll go on this big wire is my sterling silver bead, so I'm going to pop that on there instead. Just a little tiny bead there, just to add a bit of something. If you don't have one, don't worry, but I'm going to be using that one instead. So now carry on weaving over 3 wires. As we did before. So we go twice around the bottom 2. Between the bottom 2, and then twice around the top 2. So that's the repeat as before, twice around the bottom 2 wires and twice around the top 2 wires. So I've done 27 repeats of that 2-2 weave. You must keep pushing your weaves together as you go. I'm going to flatten mine down with my pliers. And the number of repeats depends on the size of your bead. That's the first part, from the hole to the peak. And then this part needs to be so it finishes at the bottom, where the bottom of the hole of the heart is. So if your bead is bigger or smaller, you need to work out how many repeats you need to do to get that. Now we're going to start to bend the weave around the shape of the stone. So we don't want any sharp bends in it, so bend it very slowly and gently, don't force the wire. Hard to show you what I'm doing with it being this close. I need that to have more of a shape, like that. So that's what we've got so far. So now take the inner wire at the top there from our beginning of our wires and bend it directly down, because that's where our bead is going to go, directly down, and then we're going to thread that through the heart. Need these wires to come to the front. This is going to take some fiddling to get it to match the shape of the stone. We need it to go to the back, the wires, like that. So that's what we've got so far. So I've added a few extra repeats onto my weave at the bottom here, so that it definitely reaches where the wire comes out the bottom. And I'm happy with that shape now. And I really like having that silver bead in there. I'm glad that worked out like that. So I'm just going to add 3 wraps to that weave now to hold the weave into place. To finish off the weave, I'll just wrap 3 times around that bottom wire. To keep pushing your weave together as you go, keeps it nice and tidy. And then take the 3 bottom wires, take them around that bottom bead wire, bending them straight around to the back, holding it all in place like that. So now I'm going to cut my weaving wire. And I'm going to reattach it to these 2 wires at the top. And I'm going to start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. And then 3 wraps around both wires. I'm going to repeat this a few times. 3 wraps around the bottom wire, 3 wraps around both wires. So I've done 6 repeats. Cut off the tail end. I'm going to curve this weave around. like that. And I'm going to separate out my wires. And I'm going to do a figure of 8 type weave over these 2 wires now. So I'll start with going straight over the top one. And I'll go around that 3 times. Then I'll come over the bottom wire. Go around that 3 times. Over the top wire. 3 times around that one, over the bottom wire, and 3 times around that one. Just keep repeating that. Gives it a nice finish. So that's how much I've done till it starts to reach the weave. And I'm going to finish off with a few more wraps around that bottom wire. I'm going to continue adding more coils onto that bottom wire a bit further. So I've coiled a little bit further, and now I'm going to cut the bobbin off the weaving wire. I don't know why my fingers have gone a bit black. And I'm going to take this weaving wire and I'm going to secure this to the weave at the back. So I'm just going to pop the wire under the weave, and again, I know I always say you can do anything you like with these wires. As soon as you've got the basic design down and you've attached your weave to this bottom wire, you can do anything you like with it really. So we come over the weave, under that wire, coil it around it a few more times. That holds it in place. I'm going to cut that weaving wire because I need to secure this end as well. I need a bit more than that. So cut another length of wire, just a short length, and attach to this top wire, attach with 3 wraps. And then post that one underneath the weave. And then come over the weave underneath that wire and wrap around that wire a few times. so it's secured at both ends. To lose that tail. And lose that wire as well. So that's what we've got so far. So we'll leave those wires for now. We turn to the back and take the top of the 3 wires. I'm going to pull this over the stone. This one is just stop the stone keep moving about. I'm going to put a curl in it that way. Now I'm going to put a curl in it this way. And I'm going to secure the top of this wire to the weave there, so it holds the stone nicely in place. I need a short piece of wire. Just let you see what I did. We're going to attach that wire with 3 wraps The sun's shining again now, birds are singing. So I'm going to post it underneath that weave, and we're very close to the other wire there. So that comes out there. Take it over the weave and sort of sit it between those weaves so it's nice and sturdy. And then I'm going to go around, I want my tail getting in the way, around that wire. And to press it right down and pull it firmly to get it to stay where we want it to. And because this wire's got a job to do, I'm going to secure that again. I'm going to go the other way this time. I'm going to go over the front, under the weave. Pull it firmly. And then come back around that wire. So I've gone underneath the wire, and then I'll go around it a few times. Secures it all in place. Cut that wire and that tail. Just pull it nice and tight first so it's going to stay where we'll leave it. Push those ends down. So that stopped any movement of the stone and it's all nice and secured now. Just going to curl this wire with round nose pliers to finish it off, so I'll cut it quite short. Like that. And on the front. I'm going to do the same with these wires. And when you're cutting wires that you're going to be keeping, have your flush side facing in towards the wire so you get a nice cut. And I think I'll have that about that long. Got a loose bit there. I'll cut this one. That's what we've got so far. This bottom wire here that comes out the bottom of the bead, I'm going to bend that over and secure it around the two wires that are left, nice and tight, up straight around those two. Go round twice. I'll cut it off there where it comes down the front, where we won't see it. Flatten that down and squeeze it onto those two wires. So that's nice and secure there. So now for these last two wires, take your weaving wire and wrap 3 times around the bottom wire. And 3 times around both wires. I'll do this a few times. So I've cut the tail off that and I've bent this wire up a little bit out of the way. What I'm going to do is just curve these wires, put my finger at the back so that stays where I want it, over to the front like that. Cut this free from my bobbin, just so we've got a short length of weaving wire. And I'm going to attach it to that weave. If I can see what I'm doing, I'm going to try and post it behind the weave. It's a bit fiddly. Gotcha. So it attaches it to the weave, and then I've come up behind those two wires. I'll just wrap around that top wire 3 times. I'm going to coil on that wire a few more times. It is all very made up on the spot. I get the design in my head of what I want to make, and then hands tend to do other things at the time. But there you go. Curving both of these around like this. And then I'm going to go around, oops, both wires 3 times. And then coil again around that top wire. Finish it off. So I'm going to curl one up and one down. I'm going to cut that weaving wire, and I'm going to cut these wires. I want that bottom one very small. One about there. So all that I need to do now is to curl all those loose wires. I'll start with these bottom 2. Now this one needs to be curled up really nice and tight because it's likely to snag on something, so you need to curl it so that you can actually close the curl. Because if you leave that curl open, because it's sticking out like this, it may catch on clothing, especially anything knitted. Curl this top one as well, like that. And these top ones. And this one. That. I've got my last one on the back. I'm just going to cut that a little bit shorter. Curl that one in nice and tight. Close the curl because we don't want things snagging on the back. Because the back is the most vulnerable place for things to catch on your clothing. So all we need to do now is add the jump ring through that loop at the top. And there we have it, finished. I hope you managed to follow this tutorial okay. Another little heart design. Or you could add these techniques to other designs that you're working on at the moment. You could always do this with an oval bead or a rectangular bead. But I like the way it sits on the corner peak of the heart. It's going to hang quite nice as a pendant. And oxidising it will finish it off. If you want to oxidise your work, I have done a little video tutorial on that. I'll put a link in the description below. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this tutorial useful. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you in advance for all your lovely comments at the bottom. See you in the next video. Bye.